What's up, A to Z Sports Live on this Thursday? The week is continuing to fly by here. Austin Stanley and Jack Gentry talking Titans NFL draft because Brock Bowers, Georgia tight end superstar, wants to play for the Tennessee Titans. We got the video from yesterday from Pro Football Talk on NBC Sports from the Super Bowl in Las Vegas. Shout out to Jake and Ball for being the guy on Twitter to run down this video because I sure as hell couldn't find it. But we're going to have a deep conversation about Brock Bowers, one of the better players in this draft overall, having interest and flat out saying, I want to play for the Titans. This doesn't happen, Jack, so we're going to do that. We have several layers of conversation about this to involve you guys. Why do we think Brock Bowers came out and said the Tennessee Titans? Are you guys thumbs up or thumbs down on potentially drafting a tight end, Brock Bowers, at 7th overall? And then Jack and I have a scenario where I think it makes sense. And then we'll talk about other Titans team needs before the Magic Bucket, Jack. And we'll wrap up this Thursday with the Magic Bucket like we always do. So, Jack, welcome in. Let's get this thing rolling.
Absolutely. Chat's rolling in deep already today. That's good to see. While you guys are filing, and let's make sure we're liking the show on the way in. Like the show, give it a thumbs up on Facebook, like it on YouTube. Let's get those numbers up. Y'all know I play favorites in the comments. Whoever's leading gets the first comment every time with me. You guys know how I play. So don't forget to like the show. If you're watching on Facebook, share the show. Share it to your Titans Facebook groups. Share it to all those groups that you're in that I know you're chatting in on regularly. I see you guys in some of the same groups I'm in, chatting in there about draft stuff, free agent stuff, coaching hires. I see it all. So go ahead and share it to those groups. Let's bring everybody in here. Let's grow the show. We're going to grow the audience. That way we can take a temperature of the Titans fan base today on Facebook. Next, if you're watching on YouTube, click that bell icon at the top of your screen. Make sure you turn those notifications on for A to Z Sports. You do not want to miss an update right now. It's going to be a fast and furious offseason for the Tennessee Titans. Getting notifications every time A to Z Sports posts on YouTube will keep you updated, will keep you ahead of the game. So make sure you have your noties on YouTube. Finally, if you're watching Twitch, text that Twitch link to your Titans text groups. Text to any Titans fan you know this morning that wants to talk about Brock Bowers, wants to talk about what the Titans need in the draft and in free agency. Let's bring them in here. Like I said earlier, let's grow the show. Let's grow the audience. In Austin, it's time to get the show on the road.
Yep, let's get it going officially. Welcome into A to Z Sports, powered as always by the BetMGM app. I'm Austin Stanley. He is Jack Gentry of the Tighten Up Podcast on the A to Z Sports Podcast Network, and we are Nashville's on-demand sports talk network, going live weekday mornings at 8 Central Time on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch. Links to the show segment by segment on our Twitter X timeline. Also hit us up on Instagram, TikTok, and Threads for more great Titans content. We got to thank our sponsors because they make it happen for us, and they help out all of you, like Wilson County Hyundai. Make Wilson County Hyundai a part of your new car buying process and see them in Lebanon or WilsonCountyHyundai.com. The Bone and Joint Institute, boneandjointtn.org, the region's destination for comprehensive orthopedic and sports medicine care. Farm Bureau Health Plans, get better with Farm Bureau Health Plans at fbhp.com/ATOZ. And our friends at Krebs Kubota, an elite Kubota dealer with 3 great locations across the mid-state in Columbia, Franklin, and Murfreesboro. They are online at KrebsKubota.com. So, Jack, we've got a Brock Bowers show on Thursday, February 8th. I didn't expect us to have a Brock Bowers show. You know, we've kind of talked about how Brock Bowers could play a role in the Titans draft scenario throughout so far this young draft season. But man, let's just go ahead and get to the video. It's short, so I have a feeling we're going to play it several times here on this show. Brock Bowers on the set with Mike Florio and Chris Sims, asking him a question that usually doesn't get answered at the Super Bowl by draft prospects, but we'll play the tape.
Well, I know you can't control it, but if you could, where would you want to go?
Whoever wants to take me. I mean, it's hard to say. I'd love to go to.
He wants the Niners to get rid of Kittle, and then he wants to go to the 49ers.
That'd be all right.
Let him say it.
I'd be all right with going to the Tennessee Titans. I mean, I liked it down in the Georgia, Tennessee area. I mean, I thought it was cool, but yeah, that'd be a cool spot to be.
Yeah, you hear that, Titans?
You hear that, Titans? That'd be a cool spot to be. I'm going to play it one more time.
Well, I know you can't control it, but if you could, where would you want to go?
Whoever wants to take me. I mean, It's hard to say. I'd love to go to.
He wants the Niners to get rid of Kittle, and then he wants to go to the 49ers.
That'd be all right.
Let him say it.
I'd be all right with going to the Tennessee Titans. I mean, I liked it down in the Georgia, Tennessee area. I thought it was cool, but that'd be a cool spot to be.
Yeah, you hear that, Titans?
All right, so he started to say I would love to play for, and then Chris Sims interrupts him and says, "You want the Niners to get rid of Kittle and play for the Niners, right? Because where's Brock Bowers from? He's from Napa, California, out there in wine country. And so, wanting to play for the Niners in wine country, that does make sense. But then he says, I like the South, man. Georgia, Tennessee area is where I want to go. So let's look at Brock Bowers as a whole. This is our guy, James Foster's breakdown on A to Z Sports Film Room of the Georgia tight end. He's a top 10 pick. 7th overall and on James's big board, which is right where the Titans draft. He's 21 years old. He's been a big-time college football player. He's got a ton of strengths, not a lot of weaknesses, but the weaknesses are struggles with press coverage when he lines up outside in the slot, undersized with a below-average catch radius. Blocking tape was better 2 years ago. Limited potential as an inline blocker. Might be too small to play the full wide tight end position, and he fumbled twice in 2023, but man, skilled route runner. He's explosive. He's really good at tempo. He has top speed to separate vertically and attack seams. He's strong and explosive after the catch. Leads the FBS with 33 broken tackles the last 2 seasons. A low drop rate. Outstanding focus and ball tracking. Excellent move blocker. Locates a target in open space and clears the alley on screens and sweeps. Punches above his weight class and finishes blocks. Held his own versus defensive end. So there's a lot of really good strengths there, Jack, on Brock Bowers. I mean, what do you think about Brock Bowers, the player, and why do you think he listed the Tennessee Titans?
Yeah, I mean, Brock Bowers is a great player. 3-time All-SEC. He changed the game for Georgia. He was a clear difference. Like when Georgia had to play that stretch of games without Brock Bowers, their offense was significantly worse than it was when they had him in there. He was their number 1 target most of the time, and he was reliable. It's exciting to watch him play because he kind of represents this new era of tight ends where, and you saw it on James Foster's strengths and weaknesses columns. He's big enough to block 6'4", 240, but he's more of a Travis Kelce, George Kittle type mold where it's what
George
he does.
Kittle is a
George
blocker.
Kittle's a great blocker,
right?
But it's what those guys do after they catch the football. Brock Bowers, like them, has the ability to turn a 12-yard gain into a 25-yard gain or a 35-yard gain because he can run away from defenders, stiff arm them off of them. He's great with the football in his hands. Now, why do I think he said this?
Yes.
I don't think it's that deep. I simply think it's a convenient location for a 22-year-old player to come play football. Like, who doesn't want to play in Nashville? And with the scheme change, it feels like the Titans are going to be catering to pass catchers much more than they have in the past. So it's a more attractive destination to players like Brock Bowers and players like Malik Neighbors or free agents like T. Higgins than it has been in the past. So I think it's a little bit of both, right? Just what they're doing with Callahan regime-wise or scheme-wise. And then also it is really close to Georgia, and he's gotten to come up here and beat the hell out of Vandy. And experience what Nashville is. So I think that those two are really the biggest factors for Brock Bowers. I don't think it's that deep.
So I don't think it's that deep either. I do think there is. I got 2 reasons why I think he said this. One of them is because I think Brock Bowers understands that he could probably slide in the NFL draft pretty quickly just because of the position he plays. Like, if he doesn't go 5th to the Chargers, who might be able to use a tight end, he's not going to the Giants who have Darren Waller. Then there's the Titans right there. The Falcons have Kyle Pitts. The Bears have so many defensive needs. It's ridiculous after probably taking a quarterback at number 1. So all of a sudden he can find himself outside the top 10 into those early teens before somebody with a tight end need. The Jets are paying CJ Uzomah. From recently the Bengals before that. So you're going to drop down pretty far before you get to a team with a legitimate tight end need. That's, I think he's afraid of falling down the board there. there's also another reason that I did just confirm in our Titans group chat. Brock Bowers' girlfriend goes to the University of Tennessee. I don't know if she's graduating yet, but that is a confirmed that his girlfriend does go to the University of Tennessee. And hey, it's not that far from Knoxville to land in Nashville. Atlanta's out because of Kyle Pitts. So you can't go there. Might as well go to the Titans, and boom. Now you've got you're just 2.5 hours away from your girlfriend after not playing that far away in college. So those are my two reasons why.
The girlfriend's going to go where Brock Bowers goes. That's just how it's going to work.
I don't know what year. I don't know if she's set to graduate. Brock Bowers coming out of college early, I believe. So maybe she's around the same age, has another year or so left in school.
Brock Bowers has a lot of negotiating power in that relationship with the money he's about to be bringing in and the status he's about to have wherever he lands. So whether it's Tennessee or somewhere else, I'm sure the girlfriend will hop on planes whenever she needs to see him anyways. But sure, maybe it factors in. I don't know.
But again, I still think there's something to that. I mean, he said, let's play the video one more time about Brock Bowers.
Well, I know you can't control it, but if you could, where would you want to go?
Whoever wants to take me. I mean, it's hard to say. I'd love to go to.
He wants the Niners to get rid of Kittle, and then he wants to go to the 49ers.
I'd be all right.
Let him say it.
I'd be all right with going to the Tennessee Titans. I mean, I liked it down in the Georgia, Tennessee area. I thought it was cool, but that'd be a cool spot to be.
Yeah, you hear that, Titans?
It'd be a cool spot to be, and he'd be closer to his girlfriend until she's done with school. And then, obviously, as you said, Jack, Nashville's a pretty great spot to be when it comes to young 20-somethings that are coming into some opportunity with it, finances. But all right, so let's talk about football now and less about why Brock Bowers wants to come and whether his girlfriend plays a role in that or not. But he wants to be a Tennessee Titan. He said, I'd love to be there. So let's ask this. Are you thumbs up or are you thumbs down on the Titans potentially drafting Georgia tight end Brock Bowers at 7 overall? Are you thumbs up or thumbs down on the Titans potentially taking Brock Bowers 7th overall? We'll get to all of your comments, but first, Krebs Kubota is where you should turn for all of your equipment needs. Brock Bowers plays like a tractor. He plays like a fast, powerful power unit that you can get at Krebs Kubota because they are an elite Kubota dealer. They have the best equipment in the industry, just like Georgia's been pumping out some of the best players in college football. But Krebs Kubota can take care of you. They have their 3 locations in Columbia, Murfreesboro, and in Franklin as well across the mid-state. Also, elite Kubota dealer means they've got the best warranties and the best equipment and the best connection with Kubota National to set you up for the equipment that you're looking for, what you need, and have the service support and customer service to go along with it, because that's what the Krebs family name does, is they thrive to have the best customer service for you to help you out, whether you're buying or just need to rent for a weekend project. Krebs Kubota's got you covered. Once again, Columbia, Franklin, and in Murfreesboro, online, KrebsKubota.com.
It's big game week, Austin, and BetMGM is the perfect place to go for all of your sports betting needs this week. I know all of y'all are going to want some skin in the game one way or another, whether it's a small prop, whether it's what will the opening coin toss land on, how long will the national anthem go, and then even player props in this game. You're going to want to get it all at BetMGM. They've got it all. Easy to navigate, easy to use for new users, and a bonus for you new users. Download the BetMGM app and plug in our bonus code that you see on the screen, A to Z Sports, and you'll get up to $1,500 back in bonus bets if your first bet misses. Now's the time to do it, folks. If you've been waiting on it, you've been thinking about it, go ahead and dive in with BetMGM and use our bonus code that you see on your screen, A to Z Sports, up to $1,500 back in bonus bets if your first bet misses.
Visit BetMGM.com for terms and conditions. 21 or older. Tennessee only. New customer offer. All promotions are subject to qualification and eligible requirements. First online real money wager. Only rewards issues now. Drop bonus bets. Bonus bets expire 7 days. If your problem game is work, call Tennessee Redline 800-889-9789. Jack, I'll toss it to you to go to the chat, which, by the way, we need more likes. I don't know why we don't have as many likes as we should have, because way more people are watching. I'm counting like over 250 more people are watching than the likes that we have on the show. So give us those likes on Facebook and on YouTube. Please hit that like button for us. Jack, thumbs up or thumbs down on the Titans potentially taking Georgia superstar tight end Brock Bowers at number 7. What's the chat saying?
Darren Lee on YouTube is going to start us off today with a thumbs down. Deborah on Facebook disagrees. She's saying thumbs up. Eric, thumbs down. We got a thumbs down from Mikey. Stephen King says he wants Alt, thumbs down on Bowers. But Timmy and Lucas are thumbs up. So is JR. Clayton says he's down. It's a last resort pick. If the Titans don't get their top needs, maybe then Bowers makes sense. I believe that's what Clayton's saying. Jerry is thumbs down. Billy is also thumbs down. Kenny, Rashid, Jody, Danny, all thumbs down. So is Jason. Eddie Cardona says thumbs down. Tighten Up says thumbs up. We've got God as a Theory says thumbs down. Thumbs down from Scott Weaver. DeMario's thumbs up. Malachi doesn't like it. MB says down big time. Tighten Up Tony says only if both tackles and all wide receivers are gone. Paul Arias is thumbs down. Richie's down. Steven's down. Major Keys is down. KG's down. We've got Albert with a thumbs up. Same with Titans Kyle. Brandon says if it makes sense, down unless everyone else is gone. Austin, I believe the chat, it's pretty like 90-10 thumbs down, maybe 80-20. I'm siding with the chat. I'm going thumbs down on Brock Bowers for the Tennessee Titans. If you look at some of the best tight ends in the NFL, these guys aren't first-round picks, right? Travis Kelce, third-round pick. George Kittle, 5th round. Waller, 6th. Mark Andrews, 3rd round. Jake Ferguson and Dalton Schultz, both taken in the 4th round. And for the Titans who've drafted a tight end in each of the last 2 drafts, I don't know that going back to the well makes a lot of sense when you have capable guys like we've seen Chigakonko at times be, like we've seen Josh Wiley, have sparks last season. But looking at some of the first-round tight ends that have been drafted since 2008, Austin, I've got a list, and I'm going to read them off here. There are far more misses than hits. Starting in 08, Dustin Keller with the Jets, big whiff. Brandon Pettigrew, Lions, big whiff. Jermaine Gresham, big whiff. Eric Ebron, one-time Pro Bowl. O.J. Howard with the Bucks. He wasn't really a hit. Evan Ingram was good with the Giants. David Njoku's been positive with the Browns. Hayden Hurst, huge swing and a miss. T.J. Hawkinson, great. Noah Fant, bad. Kyle Pitts, inconsistent. Dalton Kincaid showed a little bit this year. We'll see.
Dalton Kincaid, good. I mean, that's a rookie year. Like the last year's tight end draft was just stocked with dudes that made. I mean, Sam Laporta was a second
rounder.
Yeah,
and Tucker Kraft later in the draft. Also, another example of a guy you can find later in the draft. But the top 10 tight ends. Let's whittle this down to just 3 guys. Okay, it's Eric Ebron, made the Pro Bowl once with the Lions. That's it. Then you have T.J. Hawkinson, great pick. He's one of the best tight ends in the NFL, and he will continue to be that for the next probably decade. Kyle Pitts, great rookie season, not much since. So just because it's a top 10 tight end, just because he's the best tight end on the board, doesn't guarantee him to be anything. And it just doesn't make sense for the Titans after having two young tight ends, both on rookie deals, to go out and add a third guy who, according to James Foster's report, isn't great at blocking. He's more of a receiver. So if I want to find a tight end eventually, and maybe they do this after Chig and Wiley are up, I want a guy that can do both. Give me a guy who can block and catch, like George Kittle. I don't want, one guy like Chig who can just catch, or Wiley who's, a bigger guy who helps out blocking more than he does as a receiver. I want a guy who can do both. I don't know that Brock Bowers can do both. And when you're looking at the Titans' needs, well, they need a guy who can strictly block. They need an offensive lineman. They need a guy who can only catch. They need a receiver. I just don't believe that Brock Bowers makes sense at 7 for the Titans.
I think I think Brock Bowers is more like a TJ Hawkinson top 10 tight end than he is a Kyle Pitts. Like Kyle Pitts is basically a receiver. Like there were talks in the draft process when Kyle Pitts came out of Florida. Like, do you view him as a tight end or do you view him as a big receiver? And that was going on at the combine and his pro day and all this stuff. And Kyle Pitts was going to have to learn to block. And that's a usage problem. It's a quarterback problem in Atlanta. Why Kyle Pitts hasn't really done anything since his rookie year consistently. But Brock Bowers is a beast. Like Jack, we are both SEC guys. We have watched Brock Bowers for 3 years wreck defenses of schools that we love. I have watched Brock Bowers come back after like 4 or 5 weeks after a tightrope ankle surgery and just wax the Vols defense back in the fall. And he's legit. I think he does everything. Like, I'll bring back up the strengths and weaknesses that our guy James Foster has. Like, yes, the weaknesses, he has undersized with a below average catch radius. He's not super long. Blocking tape was better in 2022 than in 2023, but that's also because he missed several weeks with the tightrope ankle surgery. And then when he came back, he was a different player. He's still recovering from that. Limited blocker as an inline, limited potential as an inline blocker. And then you go look at the pluses, though. Excellent move blocker. Locates target in open space, clears the alley on screens and sweeps. Punches above his weight class and finishes blocks consistently, and held his own versus defensive end with good hand placement and leg drive to sustain blocks. I see three blocking pluses. And yeah, of course, you've got a couple blocking negatives, but for a guy who's that high level of a pass catcher, I'm thumbs up on this. Like, I am thumbs up on the Tennessee Titans potentially taking Brock Bowers at 7, because the Tennessee Titans roster is in shambles. They need help. They need good players. Brock Bowers is a great player in this draft. And if you have a chance to add a great player in this draft, you do it. When you pick in the top 10, your goal is to not pick in the top 10 again for a long time. And so you might as well, and you better, go get yourself a great player in the top 10. And I'll quote Jake and Ball, who was the one who found the video from yesterday with Chris Sims and Mike Florio. And he said, like, I have a hard time seeing the Titans taking Brock Bowers at 7 and regretting it. Like, Brock Bowers is a great football player. And you're not going to ever regret drafting great football players. So yeah, I'm thumbs up on this.
But I feel like part of your answer didn't really address, like, the Titans could also draft a great football player that fits exactly what they need. Brock Bowers, I've tight end at 7th on the Titans needs list. That's below left tackle. That's below wide receiver, cornerback, right tackle, linebacker, a strong safety. Then you have tight end. Like, the Titans with Chigakonkwo, if he can stop his drop problems, I think you have enough there to give Levis some help, catching the football. I just don't. I think that kind of pushes back, it delays the inevitable, which is, eventually addressing the offensive line and addressing the wide receiver position. And I don't believe that a tight end will be utilized enough that it would make it worth it drafting him over a potential wide receiver like Rome Odunze or Malik Neighbors, whichever one might be there at 7. So sure, Brock Bowers is a great player, but there are a ton of great players that have a really strong chance of being available at 7 that help you move forward in building this offense towards the future. Brock Bowers, he's going to be good. He's going to be a good player. But I just think that you'd be pushing it back, and you know what? The chances that you hit on an offensive tackle in the second round or a wide receiver in the second round are decreased. Like that's what you need to figure out. We've been talking all season long about how the Titans need those positions. And now just because Brock Bowers says he wants to play for the Titans, we're saying, oh, he wants to play here. I want him now. It feels good to be wanted. It does. But it doesn't mean that this makes sense for the Titans.
Yeah, but I think, but Jack, I guess why I say thumbs up, because I'm putting myself in that Thursday night mode. If the Titans select Brock Bowers, would I be mad? The answer is no. If the Titans select Brock Bowers, would you be mad?
I wouldn't be happy.
You would not be happy.
No, it's like sending. It's like going to the grocery store and needing to pick up a dinner for the next couple of days. So you go get chicken, you go get broccoli, you get your vegetable, whatever. But instead of getting any of that, you come back home with granola bars. It's like, okay, like this will get you over. Like, this will tide you over. This will fill you up. But it's not what you need. You need something of substance. You need something that you can rely on, something that's dependable. And Brock Bowers, at the end of the day, the tight end position, it's not that valuable. Like, sure, Travis Kelce's done a lot for the position. So is George Kittle and Mark Andrews and these guys. But you can win without having a superstar tight end. What you can't win without is a left tackle or a wide receiver. Those two positions are what the Titans need to get to that next level to help Will Levis. Having a safety net at tight end is great, but having a left tackle or a wide receiver on a rookie deal that can transform your offense is much better.
Yeah, I do think, though, Brock Bowers is he not a playmaker? Is Brock Bowers not a guy who scores touchdowns? Brian Callahan said, I tend to lean to the guys who score touchdowns. That's Brock Bowers. Like I think he checks a lot of the boxes the Titans need. The Titans need playmakers who can go catch the football and make plays for Will Levis. And Brock Bowers checks that box. That's why I'm thumbs up on it. I'm not saying Brock Bowers is my number one prospect that I want for the Tennessee Titans. But I will be honest, if they take Brock Bowers at 7, I'll be like, all right, cool. That's a helping Will Levis draft pick. And as long as they take that 7th overall pick to help Will Levis, then I will be happy with that. Because Brock Bowers, he might not have long arms or a big catch radius like Kyle Pitts or like maybe Malik Neighbors or Rome Odunze. I don't know how long Odunze is. I feel like Neighbors, by watching him at LSU, is a little longer. But I feel like that is a spot where Brock Bowers catches contested balls. He is strong hands. 4% drop rate at Georgia? They make him the focal point. Like, name Georgia receivers. Like Ladd McConkey, right? We all know that guy, but that guy's like your, walk-on turn superstar at Georgia. There's like Rosemary Jack Saint, who's more famous for having a cool ass name than he is for actually doing, good things as a wide receiver on the field. Like, Brock Bowers is the dude of that offense. Brock Bowers is what makes that offense go and what helped Georgia win back-to-back national titles as a freshman and a sophomore. And, his ankle injury, he came back for the playoff, but I still don't think he was fully all the way there. I still think Brock Bowers is a helping Will Levis draft pick.
Offenses in college are built around the tight end much more often than they are in the NFL. Like, which offenses are truly built around the tight end in the NFL? Kansas City, that's it.
Buffalo.
Even in
Buffalo's got 2 tight ends that are really damn. Yeah, Dawson Knox and Dalton Kincaid.
But I mean, you go to Diggs and you go to Gabe Davis and Khalil Shakir made a run towards the end of the season. Like, those are your dogs. Like, even in San Francisco, it's Kittle, it's Debo, it's Ayuk, it's Jawan Jennings.
But Kittle's the glue. Kittle's the glue there because he makes everything better. And what did we see? I think Brock Bowers is a glue pass catcher and a glue weapon that Will Levis can have.
I don't want glue.
Brings up more.
I don't want glue. I want a foundation. I want a foundation at left tackle. I want a guy at wide receiver. The Titans traded away the best wide receiver they've had in 2 decades. They need to go find another dude like that. DeAndre Hopkins isn't getting any younger. At left tackle, you want to wait to the 2nd round to find a left tackle after that first wave of guys is gone. That's a risky game to play. And the Titans know that waiting around for a left tackle, getting him even at the end of the 1st round like they have in the past, isn't a recipe for success. That's a position that if you can get right, you must get right. So taking Bowers over Alt, over Fashanu, huge mistake. Over Neighbors, over Odunze, huge mistakes.
Okay.
And I don't believe that all 4 of those guys will be off the board by the time the Titans are up at 7. So that's why I'm thumbs down here.
So let's go through some draft scenarios on where we would be okay with the Titans taking Brock Bowers, because I think that's a legitimate part of this conversation. Is we don't know how the first 6 picks are going to go, and so we don't know where the Titans are going to be on the board and who's going to be there for them at number 7. So let's go through a draft scenario where both of us, and let's find it. Our goal here is to find where Jack Gentry would be okay with the Titans taking Brock Bowers at 7. So that's the goal. We'll see if we can achieve it. But first, Farm Bureau Health Plans can help you with your goals of having the best health coverage, but not paying the most amount of money for it. They can help you. They've been doing it for Tennesseans for over 75 years, and you can get your quote and get started by visiting fbhp.com/ATOZ. Zach Bingham jumped on the Farm Bureau Health Plans train a couple of years ago, and he saved 20% on his previous coverage and got better coverage. No paying out of pocket again at the dentist or for his vision coverage. He had that included as well. So it was the best fit for him as at the time, single entrepreneur, and now having a chance to build on that with his family, with Farm Bureau Health Plans. And you can always get started by checking out their website, fbhp.com/ATOZ.
If you're into sports betting or want to get started, do it at BetMGM. Download the app, plug in our bonus code that you see on your screen right now, A to Z Sports, and you'll get up to $1,500 back in bonus bets if your first bet misses. Tons of stuff going on this weekend. You've got college basketball in full swing. The NHL is done with their All-Star break. You've got the big game, obviously. So a lot of stuff to get involved with on BetMGM. Download that app, plug in our bonus code, get up to $1,500 back in bonus bets if your first bet misses.
All right, so we are trying to find the draft scenario where Jack Gentry would be okay with the Titans taking Brock Bowers at 7 overall. So, Jack, I'm going to go out on a limb. I'm going to guess that Joe Alt is, if he is on the board, you are drafting Joe Alt, left tackle out of Notre Dame.
It's tough for me to say that he's definitely locked in at 1, because after hearing Callahan speak, it feels like he's comfortable with having just an okay offensive line as long as he's got the skill positions, to figure it out, when you throw the football like he's planning to do with Will Levis. So I would say right now, just today, and this could change tomorrow, Malik Neighbors is number 1 for me. Alt is a number 2. It's really 1A, 1B there. I think you can flip-flop those two guys. I wouldn't be upset with either. I would actually be ecstatic with either one of them.
Okay, so flip-flop 1A, 1B is Neighbors and Alt.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So Brock Bowers is no higher than 3 on you.
Oh, yeah. I mean, 3 would be if 3 is not. He's not 3.
All right, I'm going to go through. I'm going to go through the draft. Let's just say the Bears take a quarterback, Washington takes a quarterback. Let's say New England doesn't take a quarterback and they take a tackle. Right? New England's got a lot of issues. They take somebody. Yeah. Arizona takes Marvin Harrison Jr. the 3rd, and the Chargers take the 2nd tackle. So now the Giants take Neighbors. So now you've got two tackles and Neighbors off the board.
That's
so
okay.
You've got what?
I just said that's okay. I'm okay with that.
So would you take Rome Odunze at 7 or Brock Bowers at 7?
Rome Odunze, game changer on the outside, an absolute game changer. You want to build your offense around somebody, that's the guy to build your offense around. I want Rome Odunze at 7 if he's there, and I would be jumping with joy if the Titans at number 7 took Rome Odunze. Do I think the board will fall that way? I would be surprised if 2 tackles got taken before the Titans were up. I would be. But if that does happen and Neighbors is gone, which I think is pretty much worst case scenario if you're a Titans fan, then Rome Odunze still makes sense for me. I'm riding with Rome Odunze at 7.
Okay. This is going to get – I think we're just running out of players because I'm learning that you would take – would you take – I'm going to list players and I want to know, yes, you would take these players over Brock Bowers at 7, right? Joe Alt we know is a yes. Malik Neighbors we know is a yes, right? Rome Odunze we just found out is a yes. Would you take Ola Fashanu out of Penn State at tackle over Brock Bowers at 7?
See, that's a great question, and I was kind of going back and forth in my head. To me, if it's down to Fashanu or Bowers, that's a situation where I'd be okay with taking Bowers because Fashanu has a lot of room to grow and a lot of room to develop, and he's not necessarily, a surefire guy like everyone believes Joe Alt will be. He's got a very high ceiling. Some say it's higher than Alt's, but is he going to be there in year 1, year 2? I'm not so sure. With Bill Callahan, sure, that probably helps things. But if it's down to Fashanu or Bowers, I would be okay with Bowers at that point. Still, there'd still be a lot of questions that I'd have to ask about taking a tight end for the 3rd straight draft and not solving one of your 2 main issues. But if it's down to those 2 players, I see why the Titans would go Bowers.
All right. So look, Demetrius says, "Come on, Jack. Now you're back."
I'm not backpedaling.
No, Demetrius.
I'm saying it's a toss-up with those 2 guys for me.
Demetrius, I said for this segment, my goal My goal is to find where Jack would be good and okay with drafting Brock Bowers.
And okay is about as far as I would go.
Yeah,
I don't think I would ever be happy with Bowers.
Where
at
you
7,
would
but I
not be mad.
okay.
Yes, where Jack would not be mad right after the draft pick is made. I've already said that if they take Brock Bowers at 7, I'm not going to be mad. Like, it's going to be really difficult for me to be angry. I might think that they probably could have traded back and gotten some more value and could have taken Brock Bowers a few spots later. But still, if the Titans come away from Thursday night's NFL draft with Brock Bowers, that's going to help Will Levis score more touchdowns and be a better quarterback, then I'm all good with that. I will sign up. I am thumbs up to answer our first question. So here's go ahead.
I was going to say, Stevie says you trade back at that point, and that is going to be an option, right? If the board falls the way that Austin described it, I believe that conversation will be one that's had in the war room by Rand Carthon, Brian Callahan, and Amy. I believe they will discuss trading back and maybe getting Mims out of Georgia in the middle of the first round, or the back end of the first round if he falls that far. I think that's absolutely on the table if the board falls the way Austin described it. So that's my thoughts on the trade back situation.
All right, so here's my scenario. Here's kind of how I view my draft prospects for the Titans as of right now in early February. Joe Alt and Malik Neighbors are 1 and 2. I'm taking Alt over Neighbors. I would not be upset if Neighbors is the pick and Alt's still available, but they are my 1 and 2. 3 is where it starts to get murky for me. I don't necessarily think it would be smart to draft Ola Fashanu at 7 overall. I think there's probably too much unknown about what his floor is, right? Because I said this earlier in the show. When you pick in the top 10, you have to come away with a great player.
Gotta get it right.
I think there are 3 slam dunk great players the Titans could take at number 7. 1, Joe Alt. 2, Malik Neighbors. 3, Brock Bowers. Those are my slam dunk great player picks at number 7. Joe Alt, Malik Neighbors, Brock Bowers. I am good with that order. Rome Odunze, I somewhat question. He's a deep ball guy mostly. You need somebody who can run more intricate routes, and that's where Malik Neighbors has that nuanced skill set to his wide receiver game at this point. Joe Alt is a day one starter. He is a high floor guy who you can plug in immediately and get a lot out of. And Brock Bowers is an absolute difference maker. He is a game changer. He is a playmaker, a touchdown scorer, and a tight end that is going to be able to help everybody else on that offense because of how quick he gets open, his sure hands, and how much of a beast he is after the catch. Who is the Titans' current best yards after catch player that they have on the roster, Jack? The best yards after catch guy. Who is the best pass catcher that they have? Don't count Tajay Spears because he's a running back.
Yeah, true. It's supposed to be, Chig or Traylon Burks, but it turns out it's 30-plus-year-old DeAndre Hopkins who spins out of, the first tackle just about every single time.
Yeah, but D-Hop is in survival mode. D-Hop is yards after catch, D-Hop survivor mode of spin out of it, stop, let them run by, fall down, get out of bounds. That's what D-Hop's doing after the catch.
To answer your question, they don't really have a yards after catch guy.
It's Chig by default because Traylon Burks is irrelevant. And DeAndre Hopkins is, like I said, just trying to get to the next play where he can make one-handed sideline catches and score touchdowns. Mm-hmm. But it's there's nobody else who's dynamic like that. DeAndre Hopkins is one of the least open receivers in the NFL this past year when it comes to separation created. Brock Bowers creates separation. Brock Bowers catches the football at an insanely high rate, and then he gets extra first downs after the catch. That is a great player for your young quarterback that you can get in the top 10. You can do it. And so that's why my top 3 is Alt, Neighbors, Brock Bowers.
Let me ask you this. Do you believe that the Titans have given up on Chigakonkwo after seeing him kind of regress in year 2?
Well, here's the thing.
I think if they take Bowers, the answer to that question has to be yes. If it's not yes, I don't think that they take Bowers.
It's a brand new coaching staff, right? Chig, anybody who was a part of Chig's draft is gone. Like there might be some scouts, right? Some scouts that, in that department that went to bat for Chig 2 drafts ago. But the coaching staff, brand new. Rain Carthon wasn't the GM when Chig was drafted in the 2022 draft. And so Chig doesn't have a lot of necessarily people that are like in his corner that have their reputation tied to Chig Okonkwo.
I like they're against Chig. Doesn't mean they're anti-Chig.
No. It's just they don't like. There's not anybody who has their reputation tied to Chig.
You're right.
They have reputation tied to Josh Wiley because they drafted him a year ago when Ram was in the building. So that's where I don't know about Chig. I like Chig. I want Chig to be better and more consistent. And we saw it again towards the tail end of the season. But it's 2 years in a row. Chig starts slow for the first 2.5 months, and then he finishes strong, and it leaves you wanting more going into next year, and you can't start it slow again. I like Josh Wiley, but he's a project, and it's 2 fifth-round tight ends in Chig and Wiley. Those are good players to have, but Brock Bowers is a playmaker. Regardless if he's a tight end or a wide receiver, he's a playmaker, and you need playmakers on this offense.
Look, I agree. The Titans do need playmakers. Me personally, I think that there's still something there with Chig. I think that he's capable of turning it around and taking that big leap that we all expected him to take last year. I still think he's got a chance to do that in this new offense. So, why would I want a tight end at 7 overall with all the holes the Titans have right now, both sides of the football? Why would I want a tight end at 7 if I believe the Titans still have something in Chig? No, whether that something is 800 yards and 70 catches, or it's 50 catches for 650 yards and a few touchdowns that are timely. I believe that Chig still offers a lot in this offense. I believe that Will Levis is going to be able to use him much more than he did in year one, on the offensive side of the ball with Chig Okonkwo. So because I believe that there's still something there with Chig and that there is a lot of potential in Chig, that's what drives me off of Bowers at 7, because I think the Titans can make it work at tight end with what they've got in the room right now. I think that if they added a left tackle or a wide receiver, that gets you much closer to the end goal than it does if you take Bowers at 7, because then you've got 3 guys on a rookie deal. Maybe you trade one and get peanuts back for them. But I just don't think that 3 drafts in a row taking a tight end makes sense when you have all of these other holes that you've failed to properly address over the last 3 drafts.
Sure. New staff, though, so they have to come in there, evaluate the current roster and what they think they need for their offense. So somebody asked in the chat earlier, who is James Foster's comp for Brock Bowers? I texted James. I have the answer, and I have another question that I'm going to try to turn Jack. I see in the chat I have already turned somebody else. I've turned who was it? I've turned Steven. So I'm going to see if I can continue to turn Jack on the comp for Brock Bowers from our guy James Foster at A to Z Sports Film Room. But first, the Bone and Joint Institute is where you should turn for all of your injury needs. Injuries pop up in life, usually at inconvenient times, and they throw whatever you've got going on in your routine, your schedule out of whack. And either you let that injury linger and it just becomes worse, or you go get it taken care of. And the people you should trust for that is the folks at the Bone and Joint Institute in Franklin. They have all the experts, all the resources there under one roof. So you don't have to go all around town for clinics and imaging and rehab and surgery centers. Nope, all in one spot right there in Franklin off of I-65. It's a great facility, state-of-the-art, just several years old now, maybe 4 or 5 years old, that they have right there next to Williamson Medical Center in Franklin. So book an appointment. It's easy to do there too, boneandjointtn.org.
BetMGM.com. It's very easy to use, even for new users. I know it can be intimidating getting in this game. There's a lot of different stuff to bet on, and it's easy to get lost on apps. Well, BetMGM's not that kind of app. They've got it all laid out, perfect order, easy to navigate, easy to use, easy to find your parlay selections, your odds boosts, anything that you want to put some money on. BetMGM's got it, and they make it easy for you, which is all you can ask for as a new sports bettor. So download BetMGM, take advantage of our code A to Z Sports, and you'll get up to $1,500 back in bonus bets if your first bet misses. BetMGM's the place to do it if you're going to do it. So download BetMGM and use our bonus code A to Z Sports.
All right. So Jack, somebody mentioned in the chat earlier, what's James Foster's draft comp for Brock Bowers? Well, I texted James to ask him that question. And then Steven saw this. Austin's changing my mind. Look at the Lions. They have a stud in St. Brown, but nothing after that. And Laporta is a baller.
Well, how'd they get St. Brown? They drafted him
in the 4th round.
Yeah, but you're not going to find – it's easier. It's much – after the tight ends that I read earlier, it's much easier to find a day 2, day 3 tight end than it is day 2, day 3 wide receiver. Kelsey, day 2 wide receiver. Kittle, day 3. Waller, day 3. Andrews, day 2. Ferguson and Schultz, both day 3 guys. So it's not easy to find a wide receiver in those rounds. It's easier to find a tight end back there.
All right, so Sam Laporta is the draft comp for Brock Bowers from James Foster. So, Jack, Sam Laporta in a Lions offense who has one stud wideout in St. Brown, a couple other role players around it, a good running game, but then a tight end as a rookie who was really the number 2 option for Jared Goff. Sam Laporta had 86 catches for 889 yards and 10 touchdowns. The Tennessee Titans would love to have Sam Laporta.
Sure.
And if you have a chance to get drafting Sam Laporta at 7 in hindsight, nobody would be like, oh yeah, if you knew you were going to get 10 touchdowns out of that guy as a rookie and nearly 900 yards on 86 catches to be a reliable weapon, that's legit. That is insane rookie numbers for a tight end who was the number 2 option in that offense. So I think that's where for me, Brock Bowers is a difference maker to help this offense grow up. And nobody's going to turn their shoulder at a rookie tight end getting 10 touchdown catches and nearly 900 yards. And I think Brock Bowers has the capabilities to produce like that.
You know why Sam Laporta had so much success in Detroit?
Why is that?
Is because there was an offensive line that could protect his quarterback and give him time to throw.
Sure.
That's why. And having, St. Brown on the outside didn't hurt either. Here's the thing. What are you looking for out of your tight end? How many yards, how many touchdowns? Just give me a ballpark. What are you looking for production out of the tight end position for the Titans next season?
Well, it depends on who it is. Like if it's Chig, then if Chig can get to 500 yards, I'll consider that a success.
Okay, well, he did that last year.
Yeah, I know. And
here's the thing. If you have a great tight end, I think 800 yards, 5 touchdowns, great for a tight end, right? But Chig had 530 last year. That leap from 530 to 800 is not as big as the leap when you look at your second leading wide receiver in Chris Moore, who had 424 yards receiving last year. I want a guy who can go get 900, 1,000 yards out there next to D-Hop, not 424 yards. There's much more room to grow at wide receiver than there is at tight end. Same thing goes with left tackle. There's much more room to grow. I don't know that Bowers is a significant enough upgrade to draft at 7 and replace Chig than it would be to draft a wide receiver to fill that role that Chris Moore played for the Titans last year. There's just much more ground to make up at wide receiver than there is at tight end. And for that reason, I think that if you're going to address tight end, you got to wait till day 2 or day 3 to really do that.
All right. Again, I'm going to go to bat for this. 3 great players you can get at number 7, Alt, Neighbors, Bowers. Those are my 3. Let's get to some super chats here on the show. Andre comes in and says, I would take Neighbors Odunze over Bowers and Bowers over Fasciano. Tight end value is increasing across the league. If he can be Kelsey/Kittle, it's worth a slight trade back. So I think that's an in-depth conversation there from Andre. I like the comment overall.
If he can be Kelsey or Kittle, though, that's if he can be a Hall of Famer.
Yeah, I know that's
a lot.
But it's more. It's not about like if he can be a Hall of Famer, then yeah. It's if he can play that role in the offense. Like understanding that he's not going to play it as well as Travis Kelce, who's 34 years old and as savvy as it gets as a route runner. So
he's got a great quarterback too.
Yeah, but if he can play the role of a Travis Kelce that is gets open when you got to have it type of thing and is your most reliable pass catcher, and the Titans have DeAndre Hopkins and the Chiefs don't have anybody like DeAndre Hopkins. They probably could have had D-Hop. But they didn't. So Darren says, there's no way in heck I'm switching my strategy of strengthening Levis's protection just because of a good player said he wanted to play for us and his girlfriend is around the corner. So, look, I'm not saying you do that. And no, I don't think anybody was saying that, oh, Brock Bowers says he wants to be a Titan. The Titans should move him up their board. That's not what I do. That's not what I think anybody is suggesting here. But it's an interesting take because I don't remember, Jack, a top flight NFL draft prospect who is like, yeah, I want to play for the Titans.
Yeah, it feels like it's been a while since they've been called out specifically. For me, I worry that the chicken's coming before the egg here, right? Like if you want playmakers to go make plays for you on the outside, you've got to have a quarterback who has time to make throws down the field. Right now, the Titans don't have that. What can help them the most is either getting a guy who can get downfield really fast and make big time catches and run great routes at wide receiver, or you get a left tackle who can hold up for another second and a half, 2 seconds over there and give Levis the time he needs to deliver the football. So I think that by saying Bowers makes sense, I think that that's kind of jumping the shark here. And when you look around the league, a lot of these offenses with successful tight ends also have great offensive lines and great quarterbacks. Those two things go hand in hand. They're tied at the hip. Usually if you have a good offensive line, your quarterback's going to be better. And if your quarterback's better, then he can make throws to the tight end. Tight end looks better. But none of that happens without proper protection. That's why I think prioritizing a left tackle is the best bet. But, we ran through a scenario where both of those guys were gone. Yeah, so if both of those guys do end up getting snatched up before 7, then the Titans have a big-time decision to make.
Yeah, Andre comes back. Neighbors, Alt, Odunze, Bowers, Olu. For him in that order. I want an elite playmaker to pair with D-Hop. The tackle class is deeper than wide receiver. Foster needs airtime. James Foster needs airtime. People are calling for it. Well, we have been working on something behind the scenes to give James Foster some airtime. So keep your head on a swivel for that. A potential new thing that we're going to debut later at some point in the month of February about that. So Kane says the NFL is about matchups. Bowers will be a problem. You don't want to play against him in the division because the Colts are right behind the Titans. And, I don't know the Colts draft needs off the top of my head, but the Colts are set to pick 15th. And I don't necessarily think Brock Bowers would slide to 15, but it wouldn't be crazy if he did. But 15 is a long way to drop for somebody like Bowers. But, I don't want to play against Brock Bowers. I've seen it for 3 years. It sucks. He scores against you. And he wins games. He wins one-on-one matchups like Kane mentioned. So, some good super chats there on the Brock Bowers conversation.
Yeah, absolutely. Look, Bowers is a good player. That's why the chat's a little divided at times. I mean, it's hard to pass up on great players, but my take is that at 7, you're going to have multiple great players there. Like Bowers isn't the only great player that's going to be available at 7. And these other guys, get the tie break because not only are they great players, but they fill a huge need on this roster.
All right, Jack, we've run through a lot of our Brock Bowers conversation on this Thursday. Are you ready, sir, for the magic bucket?
Of course.
All right. Shout out Wilson County Hyundai, wilsoncountyhyundai.com. Make them a part of your new car buying process. Go see them in Lebanon or online right there, like I mentioned, wilsoncountyhyundai.com. Let me grab the bucket down here. All right. So I know I have to tie. I was having computer issues this morning, which made you're going to tie.
No, you're going to have to teach me, remember?
Oh, well, I can't verbally teach you. I have to walk through it. I don't have my point. I don't have a tie ready. Because my computer was a complete.
Get him, chat.
You can jump over me. Jack was ready. I was not. My computer broke this morning. It was driving me insane, and Jack got to hear a lot of frustrated Austin. We went live. All right. So, is this for me?
Yes. After the sigh, I want it to be for you.
Wear Derrick Henry eye black on the next show.
That's cool. You're going to look really cool.
You think so?
I think so.
You think I'll look cool?
I think you'll look cool. You got to get the Q-tips. Make it nice and clean. Get the cross.
All right, we can do that. I don't think I'll look cool, but we can definitely do that. All right, this is for Jack. Oh gosh, I'm sorry, but I don't know. This must be a Zach Bingham bucket because, like, look how terrible this scissor job, this cutting job is. It's got Zach Bingham all over it.
Oh no,
Jack. Next time you're on the show, you have to be shirtless.
no way. That's ridiculous. I'm gonna go to the A to Z HR department about that.
That's me.
All right, shirtless, huh? Oh my god.
Yeah, but like, look, you're
That's
just
aggressive
showing.
at 8 a.m.
It's just shoulders, though.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it is.
This is. I mean, if you want, you can pull the camera closer that day to show less.
Probably, right? Like nobody wants a nip slip here on A to Z Sports Morning Show while they're eating their breakfast.
All right, so I think we both understand the assignment, right?
Well, do I have an issue with it? That's a different question, but yes, sure, we understand.
Okay.
It.
All right, so that is the magic bucket for today. It was a quick bucket, but we have something for you guys for sure. Next time Jack's on, and I'll have to figure out where I can manufacture some eye black for tomorrow's show. But that'll do it. Appreciate you guys as always. Like the show before you go. We need way more likes on the show. Always more people watch than hit the like button. So please subscribe to the channel and hit the like button both on Facebook and YouTube. And we'll see you guys tomorrow on a Friday. Buck Rising live tonight for A to Z Sports Primetime. Sam Phelan has Titans at 2 this afternoon. Catch you guys later. Appreciate it as always.
Tighten up pod out now.